Humanity nearly vanished when Demon King Chiyu unleashed his monstrous army, so a god digitized the monsters inside a sealed apocalypse, granting humankind a fragile peace built on borrowed divine power. But endless greed restarted war and disease, humanity staying impressively consistent, allowing nightmare creatures to spill from their digital prison. Though each monster needs a human host to regain physical form, and reborn monsters return stronger, naturally choosing humanity as lunch, until certain people master apocalypse powers and become monster-hunting hunters, wielding strange cores that turn supernatural combat into everyday employment. Centuries later, an underground arena promises another night of shattered bones, where undefeated fighter Chen Ren enters for his 99th bout, and the roaring crowd chants his name while music floods the ring, because one more victory will complete his absurdly profitable streak. Yet tonight's challenger is a hunter controlling a notoriously vicious monster, while Chen Ren only asks whether his full commission is ready. Calmly wrapping his hands, the reigning fighter awaits that dangerous opponent, as spectators doubt him despite his talent for ruining predictions. While the wealthy organizer reveals he imported this imprisoned hunter, whose hired brute plans recovering gambling losses by crushing Chen Ren, and expects one punch to finish this easy payday naturally. His challenger, the Rage Fist Tiger, enters seeking money for his mother's treatment, warning Chen to dodge because those oversized fists can actually kill. But Chen answers by smashing the giant squarely across the jaw, launching their match before the announcer finishes milking the introduction, then slipping between the hunter's barrage without giving ground, and hammering his body, hoping to stop the monster transformation, until the giant catches Chen's wrist and calmly ends that strategy. Purple energy floods the hunter's arm as his strength ability activates, forming monstrous armor while Chen realizes ordinary fists are suddenly irrelevant because the wolf-grade Rage Tiger has fully merged with its host, and spectators recognize a hilariously suspicious mismatch disguised as fair boxing. The transformed hunter drives a colossal fist straight toward Chen, who twists aside and launches a counterattack before impact, shocking the hunter since this supposedly normal human reads every move. Yet raw monster power still swats Chen across the arena, while his opponent dismisses exceptional reflexes as merely human resistance, then unleashes a spectral tiger that corners the airborne fighter, leaving Chen nowhere to dodge before the attack detonates, and the watching hunters fall silent beneath the drifting smoke. Chen cannot fall, because victory alone pays his mother's medical bills. The hunter mocks him, unaware Chen's buried heat is already rising, until that familiar power erupts inside him like a loaded furnace, and an unseen beast roars back through his burning eyes, propelling Chen from the phantom's grip with explosive force, while his opponent refuses to believe a human can overpower him. Their eyes lock as both prepare one decisive strike, then colliding fists blast fragments across the shattered ring, and smoke swallows everything, leaving the audience completely speechless, until the Rage Tiger remains standing beneath the thinning haze, only for Chen to emerge beside his collapsing armored body. The announcer confirms the hunter fell, awarding Chen another championship, while the organizer suspects his unregistered fighter secretly controls a monster. Elsewhere, masked conspirators learn authorities notice Taudi, forcing faster plans, and a silver-haired agent eagerly anticipates Tiote's mysterious host. Back below, Chen spots a familiar hooded woman among spectators, yet she slips away before he can reach her, so Chen vaults from the ring and follows without hesitation, confronting her inside a corridor lined with watching hunters, where she orders him home and forbids any return. But Chen owes one final fight, despite her consortium warning. His mother condemns him for becoming the consortium's obedient dog, but Chen needs one more victory to fund her cure, swearing he would endure any humiliation if she survives, until she slaps him, preferring death over bloodstained money, and asks whether he learned nothing from his father's mysterious death. Chen argues money kept her alive despite their miserable circumstances, refusing to spend his whole life trapped inside this rotten district, but his mother's failing body interrupts that furious promise, sending her collapsing into Chen's arms before either can apologize. He holds her tightly while fear replaces every ounce of anger, then vows again to cure the monstrous disease consuming her. Next morning, Rat's district enjoys unusually clean air beneath bright skies, while a doctor admits Chen's mother barely retains human consciousness and explains monsterization has no cure, only costly delays. Worse, he considers those treatments financially pointless, bedside manner achieved. Furious, Chen seizes the doctor and demands truth instead of surrender, until the man admits one specialized team might still help, and Chen forces him to reveal every remaining detail. Only inner-city conglomerate hunter physicians can treat such advanced monsterization, though Chen doubts elites will spare medicine for impoverished outsiders. Carrying his mother, Chen reaches the upper city gate as armed guards block him, insisting he serves Guangxing Group's Longju and needs an audience. But guards threaten him, apparently treating urgency as suspicious behavior. The sealed entrance hums as security closes ranks around him, so Chen blasts several guards aside without dropping his mother, while someone watches through a strange sigil reflected inside his eye. Surveillance creatures circle overhead as Chen orders the remaining guards away, yet his focus never leaves the unconscious woman in his arms. From the tower, Longju dispatches Xuanji to receive his unexpected guest, since the rival Source Brain Institute forces their plan ahead of schedule. Insect scouts acknowledge their master and sweep around the city tower, while Chen Chen stands over guards, still reconsidering their career choices. A crimson drone finally commands him to stop before matters worsen, just as Xuanji arrives, claiming Longju sent her personally. Chen studies the elegant agent without lowering his injured mother, then demands immediate treatment promised after 100 victories. Xuanji reminds the impatient fighter that his last match was 99, and Chen orders her to schedule the final bout immediately. She mocks outer city pride, insisting desperate petitioners show proper respect, but promises Longju already prepared his mother's treatment. Entering the treatment chamber, Chen watches every shadow around his mother, as cleansing spirit vines surround a sealed medical platform, their glowing tendrils curling closer while he carries her forward. And Xuanji claims this wood-type healing monster stabilizes monsterization before vines lift Chen's mother onto the complex operating array. Suspicious, Chen asks why Longju invests so heavily in him, and learns his fights merely tested the Taudi vessel's quality. Because the monster inside Chen grows restless, nearly ready to hatch, Xuanji motions him closer, setting her own trap in motion, then declares herself Chen's 100th and final opponent. She insists Longju chose her for skill, not courtesy, and Chen accepts a fight inside his mother's treatment chamber, after Xuanji promises the procedure will continue uninterrupted. Still, Chen senses this arrangement was prepared long before his arrival, but Xuanji mocks his concern and releases crackling energy, summoning the unknown grade 9 infant larva around her body, whose armored head splits open into a nightmare of teeth. As Xuanji fuses with the creature and grows bladed limbs, using potent toxins to amplify her already dangerous physique. Chen fears nearby treatment is endangered, while she only smiles. Combat begins beneath the sealed chamber's dim circular lights, when Xuanji vanishes overhead faster than Chen can track, though her reflection inside his widening eye reveals the incoming attack, allowing him to barely raise both arms against her descending claws. Xuanji presses closer, her armored larva looming behind her, before unleashing hunter skill poison mist directly across the battlefield, which conceals her movements while toxic vapor floods Chen's lungs. Unable to see his attacker, Chen senses lethal motion approaching, and Xuanji bursts through the fog, claws aimed at his exposed flank, only to realize her target has already read the ambush. Her elongated arm lashes again, narrowly missing Chen's torso, but he catches that flexible limb with both hands, pivots through the smoke, and uses momentum to hurl Xuanji downward, smashing the insect warrior into the floor hard enough to crack it. Yet her monstrous appendage rebounds with another glowing slash. Xuanji laughs off the damage, insisting Chen must strike harder, until she notices him already launching from above, his heel descending before she can completely recover, and one powerful stomp detonates across her transformed body. Chen realizes her flesh absorbs punishment with deeply unnatural resilience. Poison-darkened flesh coils around Chen as he regains his balance, but Xuanji drives another punch into his guarded head, following with a spinning kick that slices through the smoke and whips past before Chen can counter cleanly. Gathering strength, Chen tightens his fist for one carefully timed response, then steps inside Xuanji's next rushing attack without hesitation, burying his knuckles into her face with satisfying precision, though she instantly kicks him skyward, apparently unimpressed by dental work. Xuanji admits the blow was respectable but nowhere near enough, and decides to release more power against her weakened opponent. The 9 infant larva coils its segmented body around Xuanji, multiplying her reach while Chen tears through one lunging claw. She praises his instincts despite poison and constant monster interference, then asks how long his infected body can continue fighting. Watching remotely, Longju considers this performance insufficient, while Chen, coughing blood, forces himself beyond his current limit. However, Xuanji declares the 100th match lost and their agreement void, prompting medical staff to immediately stop his mother's treatment. Chen demands to know why they betrayed their clearly promised arrangement, but Xuanji calmly cites the loss clause, contract cruelty perfected. Xuanji sneers that sympathy never purchases precious healing energy, and Chen accepts that cruel lesson, deciding fists must collect his debt, because no other currency matters to people like her. Fire surges across Chen as he declares their match unfinished, recalling a childhood question about his father's chosen name. Young Chen once excused violence because other children attacked first, but his mother taught that strength requires thought, not blind retaliation. Remembering those values, Chen admits peaceful survival was never freely granted, while Xuanji and Longju eagerly watch his power evolve. Rage consumes him as years of exploitation finally ignite, because Chen recognized their trap immediately yet had no alternative, with ordinary medicine already failing his mother's shrinking body. Deep within, an ancient monster praises him for finally bearing fangs, offering brutal strength fueled by pain, hunger, and desperate purpose. The inner voice orders Chen to burn everyone blocking him, and his blazing strike tears straight through Xuanji's monster guard. Longju celebrates, finally identifying the power he engineered this nightmare to awaken. Chen's explosive monster energy then blasts Xuanji backward, wounded and stunned. Standing amid the flames, he calmly announces his 100th victory, while torn, burning flesh reattaches through Taudi's monstrous regeneration. The severed mass liquefies and reconnects, completing Chen's corrupted limb, but Xuanji insists his power remains insufficient and advances again. She asks what he became, receiving only promised answers after defeat, as Chen vows to repeat his attacks until her regeneration fails. Xuanji fully merges with the larva, revealing a sharper battle form, then slashes upward while Chen flips beyond its killing edge. His burning fingers lengthen into claws for a direct counterattack, but the nine-infant head lunges and bites his shoulder. Chen grabs its jaws despite the pain, refusing to release them, then ignites the creature and whips it across the chamber floor. Flames devour the larva's body as it screams beneath Taoti's heat, and Chen's altered eyes narrow with terrifying satisfaction. Deep inside, the sealed monster finally gathers enough energy to emerge, celebrating its escape through Chen's victory and awakened body. Longju enters calmly once both fighters lie exhausted, while Xuanji admits she can continue no further. He dismisses her, pleased that she completed her assignment, then activates his artificial eye and measures Chen's unstable transformation. Chen threatens destruction, but Longju promises his mother's cure. Naturally, the hidden price is Chen's life, which Longju intends to borrow. Longju activates array separation, pinning Chen inside an extraction field, while his own monster recognizes Taoti, one ancient four fiends. Across the chamber, Chen's mother awakens and calls her son's name, triggering a familiar sensation inside him as the ritual tightens. Longju confirms the blazing entity truly is Taoti, revealing despair and suffering were deliberately engineered to awaken it. Seeing the trap, Chen's mother realizes their enemies finally found them and abandons her quiet death to reveal a concealed hunter past. Regretting the burden placed on her son, she summons forbidden power, forming a blue halo labeled Dream around her trembling hand. With one command, she awakens the dormant energy inside her body, but Longju successfully condenses Taoti into a crimson monster card. Powerless Chen falls from the flames as his stolen core leaves him, while Taoti mocks its vessel for losing everything so easily. Chen recognizes his mother's hidden strength and swears to master it. Before Longju secures the card, a transformed hand slices between them, revealing the supposedly ordinary infected woman was secretly a hunter. The cyborg identifies her as legendary Chen Tianqi's wife, but she explains records were altered to bury her family's disgrace. Her dead god-grade dream angel manifests, forcing an impossible return to battle. Longju realizes she channels her dead monster through a hunter array, while she admits 10 silent years left only residual power. Still, she threatens one final move and questions his responsibility, but he counters that awakening Taoti could destroy the entire world. She cannot activate it directly, yet maternal obsession ignores sensible limits. Calling Dream one final time, she releases another forbidden hunter skill, bloodline synchronization, making herself Taoti's reincarnator before horrified Chen. The cyborg attacks immediately, realizing his calculations missed one formidable complication. The resulting tremor rattles Upper City, drawing two nearby hunters. They identify Taoti's reincarnator and reluctantly prepare to intervene. With retreat apparently unavailable, the masked teacher decides to press forward. Meanwhile, an enormous crimson hand erupts through the collapsing chamber, and the reincarnated mother crushes him beneath shattered stone. Her next strike drives him deeper, because subtle warnings seem outdated, leaving the injured cyborg scrambling across the fractured battlefield. As rubble settles, the crimson giant rises through choking dust, revealing a mouth built less for conversation than catastrophic appetite. Yet Chen remains protected inside her chest, proving her reason survives. A horned hunter marvels that she still recognizes and shields her son, then reveals he prepared contingencies, naturally ruining this touching reunion. His contingency reveals a sealing array hidden beneath the extraction chamber, designed specifically to prevent Taoti's stolen core from escaping. Glowing chains surge from shattered stones and converge upon her, locking the reincarnated mother before raw strength can answer. The trap tightens completely, an unpleasantly professional family welcome. The horned hunter detonates the formation, reinforcing every binding chain, admitting his clan never sends anyone without an exhaustively prepared plan. Inside Taoti, Chen's mother realizes Dream can sustain only partial synchronization. Taoti urges her to release control and slaughter their captors together, but she reminds the fiend that both are equally trapped. More importantly, she reveals Chen is Chen Tianqi's son, earning a predatory grin from the ancient monster within. Taoti rejects her sentimental appeal and mocks humanity's supposed strength, remembering how Chen Tianqi's mercy squandered their chance to conquer everything. It refuses cooperation, expecting the clan might preserve and even worship it. So Chen's mother abandons negotiation and forces Taoti toward battle. Furious, the fiend resists being bound to her troublesome child, while the horned hunter dismisses their struggle as pointless desperation. She explains Dream evolved specifically to support and manipulate hunter arrays, then claims few can surpass her mastery, even preserving dead monsters' powers. However, using this technique means she will soon die beside Dream. Before he can respond, her copied power rewrites his sealing array, turning its luminous chains against the suddenly restrained horned hunter. Caught inside his own masterpiece, he finally recognizes her true identity. Nearby, Chen awakens as the monstrous coils loosen around him. He marvels at his mother's strength, but she says time is gone. Touching his face, she asks him to listen without interruption. She admits hiding his father's past only invited danger anyway, and quietly accepts that protecting Chen through silence was mistaken. Taoti warns her plan will exhaust everything without saving the boy, yet she orders the fiend into Chen and entrusts them together. Falling away, Chen apologizes apologizes desperately to his disappearing mother, begging to remain beside her whether they survive or die. She refuses, sending her foolish child toward a wider world, while Tayoti voices disgust, apparently allergic to sincere family moments. Her fading light tells Chen the outside world awaits him and launches him from the crater before the formation collapses. Enraged, the Horned Hunter demands what this supposedly powerless woman changed. He answers with blazing sun heavenly fire after wasting enough time, then charges forward, refusing further interference with his carefully arranged operation. The Horned Hunter closes on airborne Chen as the transferred core follows. Chen catches the glowing fragment and its power floods him instantly. Their collision erupts across the crater in blue and violet fire. Smoke blankets the ruins, briefly hiding whether either survivor remains. Then Chen's newly transformed hand catches the hunter's descending claw, and Tao Ti declares the boy its prey while Chen promises murder. The stunned hunter realizes Chen awakened directly at ghost rank, just before Chen drives a brutal punch into his chest. Violet energy spills from the impact as the opponent retaliates, warning Chen against arrogance while releasing his own monstrous form. Purple fire surrounds Chen, seemingly trapping him inside a furnace, but Tao Ti's new vessel opens its jaws and inhales everything. Chen devours the attack, feeding its energy into his transformed arm, while Tao Ti calls the deadly technique a cheap little trick. The Horned Hunter stares, offended that someone simply ate his masterpiece. Chen returns the stolen fire as a compressed crimson projectile, blasting his enemy backward with interest, because Tao Ti collects aggressively. The strike hurls the hunter through rock and pulverized debris, leaving him kneeling while Chen emerges upright through the smoke. Shocked and wounded, the opponent demands answers from the approaching boy. Before answers arrive, Tao Ti seizes Chen's body and smells fresh meat. Long Ju's clone detects the sudden shift a moment too late. Chen lunges close and bites deeply into the clone's shoulder, making even this disposable body scream with convincingly genuine terror. The clone hammers Chen away, interrupting Tao Ti's enthusiastic tasting session. Yet the torn flesh reeks so foul Chen immediately recoils, vomiting, while Tao Ti condemns the meal as something resembling termites. Apparently, ancient world-ending monsters can still have surprisingly delicate palates. A wounded subordinate addresses the enemy as Lord Longju, prompting Chen to ask whether these attackers are merely false bodies. Tao Ti explains a termite monster produces identical clones at half strength, meaning destroying this one cannot avenge Chen's murdered mother. Elsewhere, the true Longju dismisses Rat District as beneath him. Chen calls that disappointing, then raises one transformed fist. He asks whether the clone can still experience pain, and Tao Ti confirms its frightened expression already supplied the answer. Satisfied, Chen decides that much information is entirely sufficient, punching the clone deep into the nearest fractured wall. As it struggles upright, crimson fire gathers around Chen's claw, and he charges before Longju's copy can finish protesting. Chen drives the clone downward, noting fatal injuries cannot destroy duplicates. Longju's copy calls the newly awakened hunter recklessly arrogant, but pain soon makes it beg Chen to stop. Chen asks whether fear finally reached that borrowed nervous system, then heals the clone's ruined face, extending their unpleasant conversation. Longju's copy denies fear while Chen pins it down, secretly channeling violet energy through one glaring eye. A subordinate warns that drawing deeper power will injure his true body, yet the clone blasts Chen upward and ignores sensible limitations. Tao Ti offers control again, while Chen merely complains about burns. Longju's copy rises, promising a lesson in proper hunter combat and reshapes the terrain into energy Tao Ti cannot simply consume. Chen answers that every fight still requires advancing toward one target. Furious, the clone vows to burn this insolent boy into charcoal, surging forward wrapped in a storm of violent violet flame. Chen dives directly through the blaze, meeting force with momentum. Above them, the headphone-wearing girl notes Rat District's unusual hunter defenses. She asks her masked teacher whether Tao Ti's release requires intervention, since Chen's ghost rank strength appears surprisingly ordinary from their viewpoint. He prefers waiting, relieved someone else already stabilized the immediate disaster. Inside the flames, Longju's clone wonders why Chen keeps advancing. Though badly burned, Chen still strikes with terrifying strength and composure. The polished hunter cannot understand this brutally direct street-fighting rhythm and tries disengaging before Chen drags him into unfamiliar territory. Chen follows immediately, asking whether retreat means fear finally arrived. The clone shouts denial, which sounds wonderfully convincing while retreating. Chen answers with another punch and repeats his question. Grabbing the clone before it escapes, he pulls his target closer, then drives a crushing knee upward and demands an honest answer. Behind them, the wounded subordinate realizes Chen will not stop. She begs her lord to retreat and rushes toward the fight, but Chen's swinging claw intercepts her attempted rescue. The masked teacher finally arrives, declaring the beating sufficiently complete. He notes the clones is unconscious and praises Chen's unusual combat style. Chen suspects another accomplice, but the real enemies begin slipping away. The cyborg supports his injured partner, admitting the Hunter Bureau ended their chance. Their masked observer invites these privileged intruders to explain themselves officially. Instead, the wounded pair decide immediate disappearance sounds considerably healthier. The cyborg promises revenge before violet energy carries them away. Chen pursues, but learns termite clones die whenever their host departs. Chen ignores the departing enemies until the masked teacher orders restraint. Taudi answers by turning Chen's body toward this newest obstacle. The teacher raises two fingers and calmly issues a defensive command, summoning a four-armed flame guardian from a geometric array. Its blazing hands intercept Chen before his claws reach either observer. Taudi thrashes against the guardian, briefly trapped in its burning grip. The teacher explains Chen cannot hear them after Taudi seized control. Fortunately, an inherited restraint still allows the guardian to contain it. The girl asks whether Chen can survive this internal struggle and learns strong willpower could reduce Taudi into his contracted monster. Failure instead makes Chen its food and permanent vessel. Either outcome exhausts Taudi, letting the observers complete their recovery mission. Far away in Chenlong district, Whitebirds circle an isolated estate. Servants urgently summon every doctor because their young master returned wounded. Inside the courtyard, a gigantic termite monster convulses beneath violet restraints. An elderly patriarch waits beyond the commotion, facing his damaged heirs. The Earth attribute termite monster finally collapses as its card fractures. Its dying body releases the battered cyborg and his injured partner. The cyborg addresses the patriarch as father before everyone is dismissed. Gripping an ornate cane, the elder prepares to judge their failure. The patriarch answers failure by striking his son across the throat. Calling him a beast, the elder demands recognition of his reckless actions. The battered cyborg still addresses him respectfully as Lord Longju, insisting the operation stood only one step from success. Longju replies Taudi was already under their surveillance until this useless subordinate acted privately and alerted the Hunter Bureau. The cyborg dismisses that bureau as three powerful families' obedient watchdog. Longju calls him brainless, apparently an inherited family communication style. He explains four Source Brain Institute leaders contest their council's authority. Worse, Bureau forces blocked every assassin sent to recover Chen. Now the train carrying Taudi approaches the Source Brain Institute. The armored Monster Hunt Express speeds above the devastated city. Guards report unidentified attackers eliminated, allowing the train safe passage. Aboard, the masked teacher is finally identified as Bai Sheng. His young companion notices Chen's condition remains dangerously abnormal, fearing the monster might completely reincarnate through his body. Bai Sheng says their array strengthens alongside Chen's surging power. The bindings will vanish only when he returns to normal. He explains monsters historically exploited human desire to breach the revelation record, until ancient hunters forged cores and subdued them through overwhelming willpower. Chen must forge resonance and awaken his core entirely alone, while Taoti keeps exploiting every vulnerable emotion to complete reincarnation. Bai Sheng reminds his student that reincarnators become simple monster containers, meaning their only available mercy may be ending Chen's suffering. His mutation nears the critical threshold, leaving hope embarrassingly unsupervised. Within Chen's mind, an unfamiliar voice orders Chen Tianqi upright. A wounded armored warrior kneels beside his sword amid ruined ground. Monster MCs surround him, declaring his rebellion deserves death. Yet the voice demands he rise and devour every enemy. Another memory shows survivors apologizing to Tianqi among countless bodies. He accepts his chosen fate, asking someone to protect Ren and Mother. A trusted figure promises obedience as their hands finally meet. Then Tianqi's power tears through the surrounding monsters and soldiers. His furious family condemns guards who let a mother escape carrying her baby. They erase her name, destroy every record, and threaten dissenters. Later, civilians brand Tianqi a traitor who attacked Chenlong district. Meanwhile, Chen's mother hides with infant Ren while strangers celebrate her pursuers. She whispers that they will live ordinary lives from now onward. The memory shifts through years of her raising Chen alone, always hiding her worsening illness so he would never worry. Young Chen leaves home, determined to earn money for treatment. He enters underground fights believing 100 victories will save her. An opponent reveals the promised reward was always fraudulent bait. Even victory cannot rescue his mother because their family was targeted. Taunting voices call them worthless, displaying remarkable villainous restraint. Chen rejects the hallucinations and tears their imagined attackers apart. Taudi appears in smaller form, delighted by his emotional exhaustion. Chen recognizes the recent enemies as manipulations created inside his mind. Taudi counters that his parents' deaths and brutal matches remained real. Chen asks whether every earlier vision truly happened, then demands the identity of those responsible for destroying his family. Taudi laughs approvingly, pleased the boy finally asks something useful. It identifies self-proclaimed divine envoys ruling from Feilong Court. Their upper council and Chenlong's three families controlled civilization for millennia. Taoti repeatedly questions whether one nameless boy can oppose them. Chen quietly accepts the upper council and three families as enemies. Taoti praises Tianqi's strength but mocks his very human vulnerability. Hiding in Rat District never saved Chen's mother from those rulers. The fiend calls Chen naive for believing ordinary victories could change fate. Offering revenge and power, Taoti demands complete submission in return. The observers watch Chen weaken, believing his resistance is nearly broken. Bai Sheng reluctantly prepares intervention before Taudi completes its reincarnation. His fingers form a seal as red energy surrounds surrounds Chen, while Taodi praises submission and promises him overwhelming power. It invites Chen to merge completely and devour the entire world. Then his mother's voice calls Ren through the consuming darkness, reminding her foolish child that a wider world awaits him. Chen's eye clears, and he orders Taodi to retreat. The fiend recoils, stunned its carefully prepared temptation somehow failed. Taodi questions Chen's revenge, but he silences every comparison with Tianqi. Chen asks why unlimited power needs such an elaborate sales pitch, correctly guessing Taodi's position is even worse than his own. Instead of surrendering, Chen proposes cooperation between two trapped predators. He argues they need each other and should abandon internal schemes, then names Chenlong's three ruling families as their shared targets. Intrigued, Taoti laughs while Chen warns that further tricks are useless. The fiend accepts, challenging this stubborn brat to prove his potential. Their agreement crashes together, forcing Chen violently back into consciousness. He awakens kneeling inside Bai Sheng's blazing containment array. The relieved girl asks her teacher whether Chen finally endured. The observers confirm Chen truly resisted Taoti's attempted reincarnation. He steadies the glowing seal as his consciousness fully returns. Still disoriented, Chen finally asks where they have taken him. Bai Sheng answers that their train has entered Hound District. Approaching the Source Brain Institute, Chen asks who his escorts are. The girl introduces herself as Lu Wu and names Bai Sheng. Chen suspects arrest while Lu admits powerful organizations keep hunting Taoti. She claims the institute maintains balance, but Chen challenges council control. Bai Sheng dismisses trust, prompting Lu to soften his charming welcome. Chen recalls they opposed Long Ju and helped him survive. He decides the institute might also reveal answers about his father. The Monster Hunt Express finally reaches its brilliantly illuminated destination. Beside Rat District, Hound District looks suspiciously close to Paradise. Lu Wu races toward favorite restaurants while mentioning their waiting director. Before Chen follows, living green sludge suddenly snatches him backward. He twists free midair as more tendrils erupt around him. The surrounding attacks multiply, forcing Chen to fight while falling. Bai Sheng blocks the ambush, mocking whoever pursued them this far. The scattered sludge reforms while Lu Wu notices something approaching. A hidden attacker demands Taoti, generously offering not to kill Chen. Bai Sheng orders Lu Wu into battle, postponing her beloved skewers. The masked intruder claims only Taoti matters and requests peaceful compliance. Bai refuses, adding that their attacker will accompany them into custody. With diplomacy accomplishing its traditional miracle, the intruder launches forward. Its liquid body erupts into several fast-moving humanoid copies. The swarm rushes Bai Sheng's towering guardian from every direction. Chen realizes these strange hunters crossed the district specifically for him. Lu tells him to relax and observe how hunters actually fight. Golden energy collides with the dark copies across the street. When Lu asks their identity, Bai recommends capturing enemies before introductions. The intruder rejects further conversation and springs into another attack. Bai forms a hand seal as his blazing guardian answers. The golden giant erupts, scattering several advancing copies at once. Its crushing strike tears another liquid body completely apart. Yet the real attacker emerges intact behind a veil of residue. More copies cling to the guardian, steadily smothering its golden power. Bai identifies them as interconnected support-type monster hunters. The coordinated copies tighten around his guardian like living restraints. Seeing Chen's confusion, Bai begins an inconveniently timed combat lesson. He explains 5 hunter roles: attack, defense, support, healing, and sorcery. Bai identifies their combination as attack support, while his guardian handles both. He explains hunters usually form mixed-role teams instead of operating alone. A second intruder responds by unleashing a cloud of monstrous cockroaches. The insects begin devouring Bai's guardian, apparently finding divine fire appetizing. Chen panics, but Bai calmly reminds him that teams bring counters. Since Bai handles offense, Lu Wu volunteers as their support. Her robed cat tosses enchanted coins toward the burning battlefield. Its hunter skill, Cat's Light, flashes across the guardian. The blessing raises every attribute 40%, restoring Bai's battlefield advantage. Then a heavy foot crashes down, splitting the pavement nearby. A massive club-wielding brute leaps directly toward the golden guardian. His weapon collides with its fist, shattering the street beneath them. Facing 3 tiger-grade enemies, Bai orders Lu to target the brute. She obeys, and her cat activates another strength enhancement. The empowered guardian drives a thunderous counterattack into their enormous opponent. However, the brute absorbs the impact and steadies his weapon. He catches another golden fist, turning defense into a brutal grapple. The guardian finally smashes him backward through the fractured battlefield. Watching helplessly, Chen decides he must contribute something immediately. He reaches inward for Taodi, but receives absolutely no response. The enemy worries nearby Institute reinforcements will arrive before victory. Accepting greater risk, their leader activates a glowing green crystal. He presses its power into the living darkness beneath his companion. Another attacker begins changing, growing wings, claws, and armored limbs. The completed insect transformation turns him into a towering hybrid hunter. Bai Sheng immediately senses their sudden escalation is dangerously abnormal. The shadow user opens a swamp that drags the golden guardian downward. Meanwhile, the insect hybrid slices across its exposed, burning body. His sharpened strike severs one of the guardian's enormous enormous arms. Liu realizes their enemies strengthened and trapped everyone inside the swamp. The trio coordinates, forcing Bai's guardian deeper into its dark prison. The brute adds crushing pressure with another earth-shattering downward strike. Then the Shadow Hunter compresses his darkness around their immobilized target. Liu demands action, but Bai Sheng calmly tells her to wait. At last, Chen's seal answers with a bright golden pulse. Believing the Guardian vanished, their attackers declare the capture mission completed. However, the Shadow Hunter suddenly feels his darkness being consumed. Bai's Golden Guardian rises again as the black prison dissolves. Behind Chen, Taoti's smaller manifestation devours every remaining shadow strand. Liu identifies devouring as the authority belonging to Fiend Taoti. The uncontrolled power leaves Chen sweating and struggling for breath. He warns Liu that Taoti has slipped beyond his control. Delighted by freedom, the small fiend vows to swallow every enemy monster. Bai explains Taoti's skills consume Chen's soul whenever control collapses. Without restraint, that appetite will eventually leave its host completely withered. Bai quietly contacts his team and asks whether preparations are complete. He warns the enemies may escape unless their hidden trap activates now. A technician reports the cage complete to their waiting commander. The supervising director confirms construction and orders Bai's group to withdraw. Receiving clearance, Bai announces their real mission is finally complete. Liu's cat activates Cat's gratitude by spinning its enchanted coins. The skill swaps their group away, leaving the attackers suddenly exposed. The trapped trio attempts retreat but discovers every escape route blocked. A colossal digital cage closes around the entire battle zone. Even the shadow passage fails beneath the cage's suppressive field. The prison keeps shrinking, compressing all three enemies toward its center. Meanwhile, Bai's group materializes safely outside the Institute's main gate. Liu complains teleporting everyone drained enough energy for 10 hot pots. Chen asks whether they anticipated an ambush inside the station. Bai admits Chen attracted attacks, so they plan to capture survivors. Taoti complains the enemies escaped, while Bai defends their original strategy. Liu explains Cat's gratitude creates substitutes, enabling costly short-range teleportation. Bai anticipated the shadow escape and trapped all three attackers nearby. He postpones identifying their employers, saying interrogation must come first. Chen studies the imposing institute, surprised their journey remains strangely peaceful. He suspects its defenders quietly spent considerable power protecting the route. Tao Ti warns that the waiting director may be far from trustworthy. Chen silences the commentary by forcing the fiend back inside his seal. The closed card glows briefly before settling firmly within his hand. Chen accepts this entrance as his first step into Hunter society. Determined to understand that world, he finally approaches the waiting doorway. A crushing supernatural pressure suddenly drives him against the entrance wall. Liu questions his hesitation, while Bai asks whether courage finally abandoned him. Chen denies fear, though standing upright has become suspiciously ambitious. He notices neither escort feels the oppressive presence surrounding him. Instead, that pressure flows directly from somewhere deep inside the institute. A distant robed figure appears within Chen's vision, radiating red hostility. Chen realizes the unseen challenge may be designed specifically for him. When Bai questions his condition, Chen forces himself forward defiantly. Liu remains concerned, but Bai trusts the director's mysterious arrangement. Chen follows his escorts deeper along the Institute's illuminated corridor. From a control room, senior hunters observe and dismiss his frail appearance. A purple-haired youth casually suggests killing Chen to free Tao Ti. The silver-haired commander doubts his bloodline could control such a monster. Still, she praises Chen for enduring the director's pressure while newly awakened. A stern officer argues preserving Chen only guarantees further casualties. The commander challenges his ruthless logic, comparing it with Dark Hunters. Their dispute pauses when Bai reports bringing Tao Ti's current vessel home. Outside, a white-haired elder waits calmly beside shattered stone pillars. He thanks Bai, then welcomes Chen Ren as though expecting him. Chen recognizes this unassuming elder as Institute Director Dongfang Jing. Then Dongfang's overwhelming pressure intensifies, erasing that harmless first impression. Chen's knees strike cracked ground while he desperately protects the seal. The oppressive aura leaves him unable to draw another breath. Dongfang directly challenges Tao Ti, revealing he heard every earlier insult. He mocks the silent fiend, while Chen's heartbeat approaches catastrophic enthusiasm. Under that provocation, the sealed card activates entirely by itself. Tao Ti erupts as a massive mouth, taunting Dongfang after 10 years. It threatens to devour the old man before searching for Meng Zhang. Dongfang answers with one punch directly into Tao Ti's charging face. Dongfang's punch launches the manifested fiend straight through a stone ridge. Tao Ti protests that old friends deserve greetings with considerably fewer fractures. Dongfang observes its strength has fallen dramatically since returning to infancy. Chen rises in a snarling hybrid form, cursing the irritating old man. Tao Ti's enormous maw expands behind him, ready for another reckless attempt. Dongfang catches the charging face with one hand and stops everything. He notes Tao Ti's speed and power no longer resemble their former level. One brutal knee drives into Chen before the fiend can answer. Dongfang follows with a kick that sends their shared body flying. Chen crashes through another rock formation, making landscaping increasingly theoretical. He realizes Dongfang's strength seems completely beyond ordinary human limits. Blood spills from Chen's mouth as his transformed body trembles. Taodi fumes because its strongest attack looked childish before Dongfang. Still furious, the fiend charges again rather than accepting sensible retirement. Dongfang gathers concentrated energy around one raised fingertip. That effortless flick detonates directly against Taodi's armored forehead. He orders the weakened fiend back into its core to rest. Brilliant energy separates Taoti's manifestation from Chen's collapsing body. Dongfang injects the scattered power directly into Chen's sealed card. Returning to himself, Chen demands to know what Dongfang changed. Dongfang says he merely helped, asking whether Chen noticed his transformation. He introduces 5 power tiers: Wolf, Tiger, Ghost, Dragon, and God. At Wolf level, hunters command monsters through basic monster form. Tiger level lets monsters transform into exclusive weapons for their partners. Ghost level enables full fusion, creating the stronger hunter form. Dragon and God remain distant, while ordinary partners advance through contracts. Chen's forced reincarnation lacks consent, letting Taoti steal bodily control. Under extreme pressure, the fiend automatically forces him into ghost level power. Chen wonders why skipping directly ahead should be considered dangerous. Dongfang explains every advancement requires stored power and shared cultivation. Chen bypassed cultivation by burning something else, likely soul or lifespan. He realizes every previous uncontrolled battle consumed his own vitality. Dongfang has now sealed Taodi, allowing emergence only when Chen summons it. Chen retains merely wolf-level strength and must cultivate each later stage. Bai suggests the director teach them, earning Lu's immediate enthusiasm. Chen instead asks why Dongfang would personally help him. Dongfang reveals they met when newborn Chen barely filled one palm. Since Chen asks about his parents, Dongfang directs him toward weathered statues. Chen recognizes his father's likeness and questions why only fragments remain. Dongfang confirms Tianqi was murdered, but calls the explanation painfully long. Dongfang begins his account with a hunter selection tournament 40 years earlier. He and Tianqi quickly became trusted comrades, fighting side by side. Their victories over powerful demons made Tianqi legendary among every hunter. These ruined statues once honored his achievements and public devotion. Tianqi later sought to destroy the class barriers dividing 12 districts. His rebellion threatened council privilege, while Taoti guaranteed violent escalation. The resulting war devastated the continent, despite Tianqi's nearly unmatched strength. Even Dongfang could not defeat him, yet Tianqi ultimately chose death. Why he surrendered remains uncertain, perhaps protecting consequences nobody else understood. Dongfang says Chen and Taoti must uncover the complete truth together. First, however, Chen must choose whether to become an official hunter. Chen distrusts the institute, fearing another obedient branch of the council. Dongfang admits administrative ties but calls their organizations determined political opponents. He notes Tianqi once accepted protection here and served as executor. Joining offers Chen training and defense against countless groups pursuing Taodi. Alternatively, he may leave and challenge the council with laughable odds. Remembering the station ambush, Chen understands reckless independence means early burial. He chooses the institute, hoping its archives reveal his parents' secrets. Dongfang approves, although Chen must still pass formal hunter recruitment. He delegates the newcomer to Lu, who announces this year's selection tournament. Chen repeats the tournament's name, sensing another unavoidable complication. Lu explains official licenses grant advanced intelligence and legal hunting privileges. Victories also provide rewards and resources needed for master evolution. Long ago, such tournaments replaced wars between rival human factions. Today, the Institute uses them to recruit exceptional hunter talent. Many legends emerged there, including Dongfang Jing and Chen Tianqi. Chen asks what Lu actually knows about his celebrated father. She says Tianqi held a rare title despite erased official records. Pressed for details, Lu summarizes his achievements with scholarly precision. Very strong. The purple-haired youth approaches with 2 senior hunters and calls Lu sister. His commander praises their mission before criticizing his unauthorized disappearance. She then identifies Chen as the newly recommended candidate. The youth instantly appears behind Chen, crushing his throat to test him. Chen never sensed the movement, and his attacker seems weightless. His commander calls him Jingshuan and orders the childish assault stopped. Her power yanks Jingshuan away before Chen can retaliate. Jingshuan mocks Chen's senses and declares Tianqi's reputation equally exaggerated. Furious, Chen challenges him for insulting his father. Jingshuan refuses, claiming Chen needs 2 more years before becoming worthy. The commander advises Chen to ignore Jingshuan's permanently overdeveloped arrogance. The commander reveals she knows Chen, former unemployed rat district boxer. Her encyclopedic files cover every hunter, especially Taodi's suddenly famous host. She assigns Lu to guide Chen through selection, then leaves briskly. Curious, Chen asks what makes that purple-haired troublemaker so unusual. Lu explains Jingshuan is Snake District's adult executor despite his appearance. His monster keeps him small and dangerously fond of bloodshed. Chen questions the Institute's standards. Lu reminds him this is enforcement. Elsewhere, Jingshuan insists terrifying rookies conveniently eliminates weak tournament entrants. His commander warns Chen received protection, so reckless games risk Dongfang's wrath. Jingshuan promises restraint while privately admiring 2 stronger recommended candidates. Neither panicked. Both detected Jingshuan and even attempted minor counterattacks. His commander identifies them as two district nominees, both standout newcomers. Jingshuan still favors Chen, while another faction wants Tao Ti imprisoned. Dongfeng will decide, though their unstable representative may strike prematurely. Meanwhile, Liu leads Chen deeper toward the Institute's heavily secured core. She explains three divisions govern enforcement, deployment, and logistical support. X-sectors police all districts, deployment coordinates missions, and logistics handles research. Together, these branches preserve order, recruiting tournament performers into their machinery. Liu admits even she remains temporary staff awaiting this year's qualification. Her influential family opened doors, but procedure still demands Chen's registration. High officials nominate experienced operatives, and their candidates now await the tournament. Liu brings Chen to a residential station housing newcomers from every district. He must live here and meet potential colleagues, assuming everyone survives. Chen steps through a glowing portal, expecting housing rather than warfare. Energy engulfs him before the destination answers with desperate screaming. Prisoners charge through flames, begging Chen to free them immediately. He realizes this welcoming residence looks suspiciously identical to a prison. Elsewhere, an officer reports 12 ambushes against Tao Ti's guarded transport convoy. A prepared rune formation captured 3 bounty hunters after repeated escapes. Normally cautious, their underground employers apparently paid enough to purchase courage. Asked who handled arrests, the officer names Jingshuan and the hulking executor. Jingshuan killed one attacker, while his partner tore another's arms away. An elder angrily asks why a capture mission produced such brutal damage. The pair claim remarkable restraint. Naturally, their victims were simply fragile. Their commander explains every other enforcer returned exhausted from separate missions. Still, one attacker died, another broke, and the third remains transformed. That survivor's rare shadow monster devours physical force, complicating safe separation. More troubling, all 3 tiger hunters somehow achieved ghost-level transformations. Investigation reveals illegal source crystals temporarily pushed them beyond normal limits. Such crystals drain monster essence, yet these continued operating far longer. Since official research ended, only the upper council should possess these crystals. Contamination suggests black market leftovers, yet every clue still points upward. With council negotiations approaching, proof could prevent them claiming Tao Ti outright. Dongfeng orders the surviving attacker protected until doctors separate his monster. One officer argues Chen requires surveillance before Tao Ti becomes impossible to control. Dongfeng rebukes him for remembering punishment while forgetting an executor's duty. Tao Ti poses danger, but Chen cannot answer for crimes never committed. The Institute exists to bridge humanity and monsters, not deepen division. Dongfeng promises handling the council, warning his subordinate against hidden schemes. The chastened officer bows, assuring his teacher he would never dare. Their priority becomes extracting evidence from the captured shadow hunter. Back inside the residence, prisoners continue begging beneath surging crimson energy. Chen senses an ambush as blindfolded figures quietly surround him. The apparent prisoners cheerfully announce another newcomer has arrived. A fiery tendril lashes forward, but Chen narrowly avoids capture. More monstrous arms erupt from the flames and snatch at him. Several coil around Chen, dragging him deeper into the illusion. He struggles violently, yet their burning grasp overwhelms his balance. Liu shouts for the illusion's creator to end this ridiculous welcome. A white-haired prankster promises they were only playing, probably very responsibly. The prankster tells Tao Ti not to sulk, which achieves absolutely nothing. Tao Ti spits a fireball directly into his smug face. The blast detonates spectacularly, roasting both arrogance and personal space. Tao Ti warns that mocking an ancient beast carries serious consequences. Liu explains Wu Hei's dream tapir attacks minds through manufactured environments. Tao Ti's flames shattered the illusion, earning Chen immediate respect from Wu Hei. The real Wu Hei watches remotely through another projected double. Liu prevents retaliation, explaining residents merely enjoy tormenting fresh arrivals. Chen promises restraint. Already suspecting the apparent body remains another illusion. Wu Hei notices Chen detected both his power fluctuations and substitute. He concludes several newcomers may finally become worthwhile opponents. Nearby candidates debate Chen's monster, guessing fire from its appearance. Their catalogs show nothing similar, while Chen escaped Wu Hui astonishingly quickly. Tao Ti demands admiration, and Chen asks whether everyone here competes. Liu confirms Wu Hui is another tournament candidate with incurable prank addiction. His dark-aligned dream tapir's level remains officially unknown. She advises hiding Tao Ti's identity since abilities remain every hunter's trump card. Chen studies the crowd as possible future teammates or dangerous rivals. Wu Ho invites Chen to hit him, promising not to fight back. His reason arrives with theatrical honesty. The illusionist is completely blind. Chen stares upward, processing Wu Ho's cheerful confession of blindness. Before anyone recovers, Lin Nan announces another newcomer approaching. The residents regroup while a black-haired swordsman enters without hesitation. Liu scolds Lin Nan for joining their embarrassingly childish hazing ritual. Lin Nan blames the others, then identifies their newest target. The newcomer is Dong Kai, an enforcement nominee carrying an enormous blade. Tao Ti recalls Dong Kai approaching Jingshuan unnoticed and senses genuine danger. Even Wu Hei considers stopping after Tao Ti's fire and this newcomer's killer aura. Liu enthusiastically enthusiastically demands another round, proving principles are wonderfully flexible. Dongkai walks closer while Wu Hei prepares his dream technique again. Chen watches as the calm swordsman crosses directly into range. Wu Hei unleashes Dream Without Dust, flooding Dongkai's senses with illusion. Dongkai's focused gaze immediately finds the hidden caster. A blue sword arc cuts through the projected world instantly. His enormous blade appears against Wu Hui's throat without warning. Wu Hei begs forgiveness, insisting the ambush was merely harmless entertainment. Cornered, he blames Lu for organizing everything, a masterful survival instinct. Lu condemns his cowardice after being sacrificed so efficiently. Wu Hei panics because Dong Kai somehow found his actual body. Dong Kai swings anyway, slicing straight through the terrified illusionist. Dong Kai slips through successive doubles and calmly continues walking. Wu Hui realizes this newcomer also sees straight through his illusions. Dong Kai dismisses the joke while Lu cheerfully promises another attempt. He asks directions to East Room 103. Chen introduces himself as fellow newcomer. Lin Nan points him onward, receiving a brief English thanks. His departing stare unsettles Chen, though Tao Ti cannot explain why. Wu Hui silently watches Dong Kai disappear toward the rooms. Lu challenges Wu Hui for betraying her, generously escalating childish politics. Chen asks about Dong Kai's unseen monster. Tao Ti identifies Filian. The wind monster rests as his waist blade, holding enormous growth potential. Lin Nan praises Dong Kai's strength, but Lu ends further gossip. Wu Hui descends from above and joins them like nothing happened. He finally introduces himself, and Chen gives his own name. Wu Hui praises Chen's name with an unnecessarily solemn little performance. Lu drags Chen away, warning Wu Hui could thoroughly corrupt him. A flamboyant red-haired senior arrives, delighted that Lu has returned. His winged monster looms behind him as he complains she skipped pickup. Hearing about the station attack, he asks whether Lu was hurt. He boasts he would destroy them. Lu says missions conveniently avoided him. The senior joins Chen and Lu, offering to show their quarters. Yan Chengting suddenly blocks Chen's path with an electrified glove. He asks who Chen is, clearly disliking this unfamiliar companion. Lu says Dongfang assigned Chen to her, making Yan visibly suspicious. Meanwhile, Lin Nan accepts offered watermelon, prioritizing snacks over tension. Onlookers whisper Yan treats Lu like his future bride. Yan studies Chen and Taodi with growing territorial irritation. He reaches for Taodi, curious about a monster he cannot identify. Chen catches his wrist while Taodi scolds the stranger's manners. Yan freezes upon hearing Taodi speak like a human. Behind him, his enormous lightning beast stiffens at Taodi's presence. Even the formidable thunder owl trembles, revealing instinctive fear. Yan channels electricity through both fists and challenges Chen directly. Chen calmly asks why the stranger wants a pointless fight. Taodi explains Yan considers Chen a romantic rival for Lu. The ancient beast offers assistance if Chen begs properly first. Spectators demand blood, but Chen squeezes Taodi's cheeks and refuses. Yan calls him cowardly and questions whether he is truly a man. Chen says meaningless battles solve nothing because Yan is not his enemy. Lu unexpectedly insists they fight, backed enthusiastically by her cat. She explains hunters evolve through combat and tournaments formalize that necessity. Lu asks whether Chen truly intends becoming strong enough to confront elites. She will respect refusal but forces him to choose consciously. Chen abandons cheap pride, accepting combat as the hunter's only road. He raises the challenge token and formally accepts Yan's duel. Yan approves, delighted that his rival finally shows some spirit. Lu immediately demands stakes, because apparently jealousy needs proper accounting. She wagers a dark attribute card earned from last year's hunt. Yan tells her to name any reward she desires. He would simply gift it, which Lu refuses on principle. She tosses the card toward Lin Nan, demanding victories instead. Lin Nan catches it one-handed without sacrificing his watermelon. Lu orders him to hold it until their victory. If they lose, Chen must replace the card with equal value. Lin Nan identifies it as ghost level, though incompatible with Lu's monster. Chen asks what attribute cards actually do for hunters. Taodi explains monster evolution requires gathering cores dropped by wild beasts. However, Yan is powerful enough that Chen may realistically lose. Chen treats the duel as training and promises his best effort. Knowing Yan's Thunder Owl specializes in offense, Lu joins Chen. Institute rules require 2-on-2 teams combining attacker and support. Yan balks at partnering with Lin Nan, whose enthusiasm remains questionable. He nevertheless summons the snack-loving novice onto his team. Lin Nan protests he came only to watch, not participate. Both teams enter the training arena beneath an energized barrier. Wu Hui and the other residents gather, eager for fresh spectacle. Wu Hui finds the institute wonderfully entertaining, especially from safely outside. Yan's Thunder Owl crashes down, releasing a violent lightning shockwave. Yan follows immediately, driving an electrified fist toward Chen. The single blow sends Chen sprawling before anyone announces the start. Spectators assume the duel ended instantly, impressed by Yan's opening. Wu Hui arrives late and casually asks which team won. Lu protests Yan's ambush while her cat remains profoundly unbothered. Yan argues entering the platform already constituted sufficient warning. Chen accepts responsibility, admitting he completely neglected defense. He rises despite the impact and insists the duel continue. Yan senses Chen lacks combat experience, yet absorbed his strongest punch. Chen tells Lu Taoti's refusal to cooperate caused their failure. Lu explains synchronized partners unlock stronger shared abilities during battle. Chen considers persuading Taoti, but Lu says control offers another path. Dongfang's formation lets Chen command Taoti through their core connection. Chen closes his eyes, reaching inward to feel Taoti's power. Taoti complains that women always interfere in other people's business. Yan charges again, stunned Chen only now learned basic monster control. Guided by Taoti's senses, Chen narrowly slips beneath the punch. Yan suspects genuine synchronization because Chen's timing improved impossibly fast. Purple energy fractures across the arena as their powers collide. Yan orders the rookie to dodge properly and lunges once more. Chen flips through repeated attacks following Taoti's heightened perception. He finally experiences the monster's supersensory gift and enjoys it. Another fist misses by inches as Chen twists away. Yan warns perception cannot replace the combat experience Chen still lacks. Lightning traps Chen's movement, leaving no clear escape route. Yan drives a concentrated electrified fist toward the immobilized rookie. Lu's Stitch substitute absorbs the impact and collapses instead. She assures Chen her support prevents injury and confirms his awakening. Chen realizes Toadi's borrowed senses now feel surprisingly natural. Lu says basic synchronization cannot win. Chen needs Toadi's unique ability. Chen invokes a hunter skill as blue energy gathers around him. Yan welcomes the real lesson, unleashing full lightning alongside his owl. Electricity wraps Chen's body as he braces against the assault. Lu identifies the owl's hunter skill as bipolar magnetic storm. Yan's first punch already planted magnetic force throughout Chen's body. Each opposite fist now attracts Chen, making ordinary evasion impossible. Lu remains calm and prepares another support technique. The magnetic pull drags Chen directly into Yan's brutal punch. Impact launches Chen backward, tumbling uncontrollably across the arena. He lands upright and assures Lu he remains unharmed. Lu explains her cat provides displacement and power amplification, not offense. Yan boasts Chen cannot escape while magnetism remains active. Chen asks Taodi about his own skill, receiving profoundly useless laughter. Yan rushes forward, challenging Chen to evade another magnetic strike. The attracted punch crashes into Chen before he can retreat. Lu activates healing, restoring Chen while the crowd questions this mismatch. Spectators note he would already be dead without Lu's relentless support. Yan deliberately ignores Lu, apparently determined to educate Chen personally. Satisfied with Chen's toughness, Yan finally decides to end things. He orders the Thunder Owl to release every remaining spark. Chen watches the incoming storm, realizing evasion may be impossible. Lu cannot block such force, and her teleport still needs recovery. Outside, Baisheng notices the arena exploding and questions Lu's teaching methods. The arena erupts beneath a blinding sphere of concentrated lightning. Smoke hides everything, leaving spectators unable to identify the winner. When visibility returns, Yan lies defeated beside his stunned Thunder Owl. Chen remains standing, and Taodi proudly declares their gamble successful. Chen realizes he awakened his first hunter skill during the blast. Taodi names it an authority belonging to the Lord of Devouring. Chen used it before, but only while Taodi controlled his body. Growing mastery reveals Devour and Return within Chen's skill tree. It stores 5 absorbed energy attacks, excluding blessing-based support techniques. Chen rapidly swallowed Yan's lightning and returned it at full strength. Taodi privately admits Chen's talent nearly rivals his late father's. Chen asks whether the fallen Yan confirms his victory. Lin Nan activates Returning Light, rewinding Yan's body to full health. Yan awakens restored, while the Thunder Owl settles beside him. The supposed bystander wielded a rare time reversal hunter skill after all. Lu realizes Lin Nan's monster is another exceptional support type. Furious, she reminds Lin he claimed he was merely decorative. Lin answers that entering the arena obligated him to contribute something. He warns Yan's injuries will return once the reversal expires. The technique empties Lin completely, leaving him collapsed and panting. Yan promises Lin he will finish before the temporary healing expires. He transforms fully, refusing to underestimate Chen's mysterious devouring method again. Declaring the real match begun, Yan vows victory within 10 minutes. Lu suggests avoiding direct confrontation, but Chen chooses something more dangerous. Chen repels himself using matching lightning polarity, escaping Yan's opening rush. Yan realizes Chen copied his magnetic hunter skill through devouring. Chen matches Yan's blue speed current, preventing magnetic contact. Taodi warns Chen can devour only once daily at current mastery. Stored fire, shadow, and lightning give Chen 3 remaining options. Yan switches polarity, charging a red power strike toward him. He insists copied technique cannot overcome overwhelming original strength. A massive red lightning blast erupts directly through Chen's defense. Lu triggers emergency healing, but the attack continues tearing forward. Chen cannot repel its raw force despite matching Yan's red polarity. Driven downward, Chen plants one hand and prepares another desperate plan. He must survive until Lin's time reversal restores Yan's injuries. Chen activates the captured ghost-level shadow technique despite severe difficulty. Lu calls their reckless brawling crude, unable to support such speed. Baisheng silently watches the duel from beyond the barrier. He wonders how basic lessons somehow became immediate mortal combat. Spectators marvel that a brand new hunter can pressure veteran Yan. Lin urgently warns Yan that his borrowed recovery time is expiring. With seconds remaining, both fighters race to decide the outcome. Yan's lightning weakens, leaving fewer attacks for Chen to neutralize. Their remaining powers collide, crackling together in one unstable knot. Yan gathers everything into one final, magnificently unsubtle strike. Chen springs his trap, unleashing the captured dark shadow swamp. Shadow creatures engulf Yan and begin devouring his lightning. The hungry darkness drains both Yan's power and Chen's reserves. Bai Sheng notices Chen's monster energy is nearly exhausted. Yan realizes Chen is consuming his attack while nearing collapse himself. He cannot comprehend Chen wielding two completely different hunter skills. Every summoned power vanishes, dropping monsters and hunters from above. Both teams crash onto the ruined arena in synchronized disgrace. Smoke clears slowly, yet nobody can identify a clear victor. Yan lies spread-eagled beside his owl, laughing through exhaustion. Chen also laughs, admitting their chaotic duel became completely ridiculous. Fighters and monsters remain scattered while officials assess the damage. The astonished crowd finally recognizes the match ended in a draw. Baisheng praises the spectacle and questions Chen's mysterious final technique. Dong Kai watches silently, clearly recognizing something unusual in Chen. Later, the battered teams recover inside the Institute's medical ward. Yan claims he won morally because Chen should recover much slower. Liu asks what masculine glory remains after an official draw. Yan insists winning is irrelevant because a man's dignity demanded battle. A sudden commotion interrupts their deeply sophisticated argument about pride. 1 hour later, Chen is already training under Tao Di's merciless supervision. Liu cannot understand why someone newly awakened is moving so vigorously. Chen pauses, recognizing his recent opponents beside the doorway. He explains his body has already recovered almost completely. Tao Di loudly orders Chen to continue, apparently allergic to rest. Yan examines him closely, asking whether he truly feels unharmed. Chen says doctors predicted weeks, but this injury feels comparatively trivial. Liu redirects everyone's concern toward the genuinely exhausted Lin Nan. Lin lies wired to medical equipment, protesting his miserable condition. Yan wonders how Chen clapped after releasing only one shadow technique. Liu explains time reversal temporarily restores the body's earlier condition. Once it ends, returning wounds become twice as severe afterward. Reversing Yan only once completely drained Lin's soul energy. Liu hands Yan a digital card containing the promised reward. Yan unexpectedly admits Chen won their contest despite the official draw. Chen objects because they both lost consciousness at precisely the same time. Yan says his borrowed recovery made the supposedly equal result misleading. Since Chen surpassed him physically, Yan accepts defeat and demands rematch. Liu teases that Yan finally discovered some genuine masculine integrity. Chen admits reviewing the battle revealed several advantages favoring him. Yan could have eliminated Liu first, destroying Fin Chen's endurance strategy. Liu and Yan stare, surprised Chen actually considered their circumstances. Indoor terrain also restrained Yan's elemental monster and environmental amplification. Yan looks impressed that Chen noticed another hidden disadvantage. He claims an outdoor technique remains far beyond Chen's current limits. Still, Yan accepted every condition beforehand, so defeat remains defeat. Chen warns real enemies will never offer such convenient battle conditions. Therefore, he must eliminate every factor depending upon favorable luck. Chen finally accepts the attribute card from Yan's outstretched hand. Liu closes the argument, promising they can settle matters another day. Chen studies the card while Tao Ti peers over his shoulder. Bai Sheng applauds from the doorway, ending their private discussion. He praises Chen for reviewing battle immediately despite being newly awakened. Such discipline, Bai says, proves Chen is becoming a qualified hunter. Bai concludes assigning Chen to Liu was the correct decision. With examinations 1 month away, Liu must continue training Chen. Chen promises to work hard, enthusiasm apparently surviving hospitalization. Bai then bills Liu for arena repairs, devastating her far more effectively. Yan gallantly offers to handle the repair report himself. Elsewhere, an informant identifies Nether Shadow as a bounty guild leader. The fugitive apparently knows crucial secrets concerning source crystal origins. Agents gather manpower from Sheep District to force his transformation reversal. 3 clans pressure the council while fabricated evidence targets dark hunters. The elderly leader departs, trusting his subordinate to secure proof. His subordinate promises an answer before the council meeting concludes. Back at Recovery, Chen confirms the attribute card truly belongs to him. Liu says he earned it fairly and she cannot use it. Tao Di enthusiastically agrees, suddenly becoming an expert on fair compensation. Chen accepts ownership but has no idea how cards function. Liu instructs him to absorb it directly through his hunter device. The card dissolves into energy above Chen's activated wrist device. Liu explains slain wild monsters crystallize their properties into attribute cards. Light improves recovery, fire boosts offense, and earth strengthens bodies. However, incompatible cards can weaken monsters through dangerous attribute conflicts. Tao Ti's devouring authority uniquely lets him absorb cards without property restrictions. Hearing that, Tao Ti impatiently demands Chen begin his promised feast. Chen activates the card while Tao Ti eagerly braces for absorption. The hunter device dismantles the card and receives its stored pattern. Energy spreads across the device's circuitry, completing the transfer. Chen's eyes flare blue as the absorbed property reaches Tao Ti. His sharpened senses suddenly detect insects, distant traffic, and nearby food. Chen happily reports all 5 senses feel considerably stronger. Lu confirms thunder properties enhance perception, meaning absorption succeeded cleanly. Chen pauses as a less impressive sensation interrupts his celebration. Both he and Taudi become ravenously hungry, demanding immediate food. Lu expected absorption to consume energy, yet not their entire allowance. Chen promises repayment after finding work, instantly capturing Lu's attention. She declares professional hunters should naturally compete for profitable assignments. Lu brings Chen to the Institute's crowded mission hall. The organization distributes different missions according to hunter classifications. Chen asks whether his beginner status allows accepting missions already. Lu explains safe jobs suit novices while dangerous ones require certification. Their current rank permits ordinary missions, though none are truly effortless. Chen recalls their supposedly low-grade Rat District restaurant assignment. Lu clarifies that mission belonged to Bai, with them merely assisting. She urges Chen forward, promising experience will explain everything soon enough. They enter a mission office lined with neatly organized assignments. The clerk requests Chen's monster properties before selecting suitable work. Chen skips introductions and requests whichever assignment pays the most. The clerk explains beginners must accumulate experience through low-ranked missions. She slams a thick stack of D-rank assignments before him. Chen must complete these humble errands before accessing anything grander. Lu warns even harmless-looking missions can humiliate careless hunters. Their first target, an enraged cat, launches from a rooftop. Chen chases it while the homeowner screams about damaged shingles. Lu decides the reward barely covers trouble and assigns Chen alone. He catches the cat by crashing straight through the roof. The relieved owner cuddles her recovered pet and thanks them warmly. Repairs exceed their reward, while Chen insists that cat was extraordinary. Lu immediately chooses another mission, hoping Chen stops generating expenses. Taoti hurries Chen through deliveries as the deadline approaches. Chen realizes exhaustion has turned simple moving work into catastrophe. Lu reminds him that abandoning another job means further penalties. Chen collapses beside the cargo, and Lu calmly selects another assignment. Another delivery forces Chen to drag heavy cargo across sloping rooftops. He finally collapses again, breathing like a thoroughly defeated bellows. Lu announces their beginner assignments complete, despite barely covering damages. Chen weeps when she cheerfully promises harder missions are coming. The Institute pays their commission and congratulates Chen's formal advancement. Chen discovers barely half the advertised reward actually reaches him. Lu explains platform fees and taxes, welcoming him to professional adulthood. Chen stares at the reduced payment, horrified by perfectly legal robbery. Lu argues fees fund buildings and compensate clients for hunter damage. Chen silently calculates how long repaying Lu will consume his life. Newly advanced, he requests the hardest assignment offering maximum compensation. The clerk cautiously recommends attempting an ordinary C-rank mission. Lu overrides her and demands an A-rank assignment under personal supervision. The clerk produces a sealed file marked for urgent reevaluation. Lu immediately suspects the reassessed mission hides something unusually valuable. Chen notices another team already accepted the assignment earlier. The clerk says those hunters are being urgently recalled after reevaluation. New evidence connects the mission's escalating danger to transformed monsters. Greater danger means greater pay, so Lu signs before caution interferes. The clerk reluctantly confirms their decision and registers the mission. Lu celebrates the commission while Chen realizes retreat is no longer available. Afterward, the clerk orders an assistant to report these reckless newcomers. The mission concerns simultaneous monster attacks, including a colossal fox deer sighting. Guards found no bodies or monster cores after every creature vanished. Wild urban monsters are normally harmless and considerably smaller than reported. Something enormous should have been captured long before reaching populated streets. Lu suspects transformed creatures because technology apparently cannot track them. That uncertainty triggered reevaluation, which Lu translates directly into money. They hurry away, determined to claim the mission before reassessment completes. Meanwhile, headquarters questions why a dangerous case received ordinary classification. An officer explains later reports revealed abnormalities after one team accepted. The supervisor demands their names and orders every hunter recalled immediately. He examines the assignment report with growing unease. 3 particular names catch his attention among the registered hunters. He unexpectedly archives the file and cancels their recall order. Despite considerable danger, investigation must begin beneath 3rd Avenue. His assistant obeys, privately questioning that suspiciously calm decision. Aircraft cross the skyline while Chen and Lu descend underground. 3rd Avenue marks the transformed monster's last confirmed appearance. Chen notices Dog District's lower city seems safer than Rat District. Lu warns that organized criminals still flourish beneath the improved order. Their contact is the daughter of Poison Sting's gang leader. Chen finds the prospect of gang warfare alarmingly exciting. Lu insists they are helping legally, not shopping for street fights. A local liaison should explain district factions and mission circumstances. Lu remembers their liaison as an older man called Uncle Lee. He can introduce them to Poison Sting without unnecessary confrontation. Naturally, they find Uncle Lee being beaten by impatient gang collectors. One thug orders the others to punish his supposed disrespect. Uncle Lee promises repayment within days, but they continue threatening him. The largest thug grabs him, dismissing further explanations. Lu steps between them and asks whether boredom causes suicidal decisions. She complains they interrupted her peaceful plan before it even began. Lu launches herself forward before Chen can answer. Her first strike crushes the largest thug's guard instantly. Another attacker flies away after challenging her at close range. Lu smiles dangerously, addressing the remaining criminals as worthless trash. Once silence returns, she asks whether Uncle Lee remains unharmed. The bruised liaison recognizes Lu from an earlier meeting. He dismisses his injuries, insisting several petty thugs cannot frighten him. Their liaison formally introduces himself as Li Wen and welcomes Lu. She explains the mission and claims she also came visiting. Li Wen readily agrees to help investigate Poison Sting. Lu discreetly nudges Chen, inviting him to notice something important. Chen asks what she expects him to understand. He finally notes bringing recent gang enemies along may cause trouble. Lu silently judges his reasoning correct but painfully slow. Li Wen asks whether their destination is Poison Sting headquarters. Lu wonders how he identified their target before hearing details. Another young hunter recently asked him about the same monster attack. Chen realizes someone else accepted their mission and asks for identification. Li describes a cold young man who departed alone before guidance. He nevertheless offers to personally escort Chen and Lu there. Private debts aside, Li promises to negotiate their official business. He refuses to remain useless after they protected him. Lu studies Li carefully, troubled by his unexpected determination. Chen regrets doubting him, discovering judgment slightly faster than wisdom. Together, the three continue toward Poison Sting's nearby headquarters. Ominous energy flickers around the gang's enormous entrance sign. A monstrous shadow appears above the building as they arrive. Chen smells recent violence, confirming this involves more than wild monsters. The unmistakable scent of blood sharpens his newly enhanced senses. Lu orders Li to remain outside while they investigate. Chen and Lu enter a dark hall, echoing with painful groans. Movement ahead alerts both hunters before they reach the victims. Numerous gang members lie injured across the floor yet remain alive. Lu concludes another mission. Hunter defeated them without erasing evidence. Chen questions why an investigator would attack everyone before asking questions. He crouches beside a wounded gangster to find answers. A blue creature suddenly dives toward Chen from behind. Mistaking it for an enemy, Chen releases Tao Ti's stored blazing strike. The blue beast races directly through the oncoming fire. Tao Ti recognizes Felian and wonders why its hunter attacks humans. Chen repeats the monster's name, recalling its earlier appearance. A swordsman intercepts the collision and transforms energy into a blade. Calm footsteps approach after the summoned clash disperses. Lu recognizes the arriving swordsman before Chen does. Dong Kai appears, equally surprised to encounter them inside. Lu condemns his reckless ambush as embarrassing Dragon District professionalism. Dong claims he could have restrained Filian if Chen failed dodging. Lu challenges that excuse and asks why he attacked the gang. Dong says questioning their leader prompted an attempted group ambush. He insists he explained his purpose before casually defeating everyone. Chen doubts non-hunters attacked with monsters would confess this calmly. Dong treats the wrecked hall as an unfortunate but logical consequence. Lu declares their team will handle everything remaining from his mission. Dong refuses, reminding her that he accepted the assignment first. Lu offers Chen's assistance in defeating him, which inspires zero confidence. Tao Ti eagerly approves, while Chen rejects becoming Lu's disposable champion. Dong says frightened gangsters supplied several locations he will investigate. Chen warns those answers were probably deliberate lies. Dong turns back, asking him to justify that conclusion. Chen argues surrender would have happened before Dong defeated half the gang. Instead, they buried him beneath numerous vague and conflicting destinations. Dong considers this reasoning and asks where genuine evidence remains. Chen scans the hall, searching beyond the injured gang members. He concludes their hidden records should still be somewhere inside. Criminal operations require ledgers, likely concealed within a secret room. Dong draws his transformed blade, choosing architectural investigation. He plans using Felian to demolish everything until finding a basement. Lu explains hidden array spaces remain invisible, despite enthusiastic demolition. Dong asks for her solution, finally testing conversation before destruction. Lu summons her 8 treasures fortune cat for sensory support. Its range is limited, but Felian's wind can extend detection. Therefore, Lu proposes combining their monsters and locating spatial seams. Dong agrees while emphasizing that cooperation was entirely her request. Lu invokes the greater good, infuriating Tao Ti with selective diplomacy. She creates a linked sensing array beneath both monsters. Shared perception merges the fortune cat's sensitivity with Felian's reach. Dong activates Felian's dance, releasing sweeping currents through the hall. Wind pours across every surface, probing for hidden spatial weaknesses. Lu detects the concealed seam and urgently identifies its position. Dong hurls his transformed weapon directly toward that point. The blade pierces empty air and cracks an invisible barrier. A second thrust expands the fracture into a glowing circular opening. The concealed array finally reveals its layered defensive structure. Their combined sensing successfully exposes the secret chamber entrance. Dong prepares to enter with Felian and investigate ahead alone. Lu stops him, preferring to summon institute reinforcements before proceeding. Chen senses no hostile intent from Dong despite his abrasive behavior. The three enter a red-patterned corridor beyond the breached array. A solitary door waits at the corridor's illuminated end. Poison Sting leader Du Qi confronts them, unimpressed by institute reinforcements. His daughter Du Xiaoyu restrains him as he condemns official neglect. Dong counters by mentioning the 46 gang members he defeated outside. Liu asks whether interviewing his daughter truly justified such resistance. Duzi says amateurs cannot protect them and demands Bai Sheng. Liu questions why a simple incident supposedly requires her teacher. Chen notices Duzi describes something beyond their current report. Liu explains they came because a giant monster injured Du Xiaoyou. Duzi rages that their intrusion exposed his family to greater danger. Liu requests the missing context before anyone continues shouting. Duzi reluctantly agrees to explain the entire sequence again. 6 girls vanished before his daughter, each attacked by different monsters. Liu suspects organized planning and asks why authorities received nothing. Du feared exposing gang operations until his own daughter became targeted. His subordinates rescued Xiaoyou, forcing him to investigate properly. Every missing girl's birth profile precisely matches Xiaoyou's spiritual pattern. Chen concludes the attackers selected those girls as ritual materials. Liu suspects dark hunters are constructing a sinister sacrificial array. Duzi firmly confirms her conclusion without any hesitation. A masked dark hunter later invaded with 8 monsters despite Xiaoyou's protection. Liu reels at that number while Dong notices earlier structural damage. Du reveals the attackers killed 17 trained gang hunters during entry. Survivors retreated into this array, forcing the invaders to abandon pursuit. Du requested elite assistance, yet headquarters sent only these 3 newcomers. Liu urges evacuating Xiaoyou into the Institute's protected upper territory. Chen argues movement exposes their target, especially against an organized enemy. Dong suggests using the local mission station's direct Institute communication. Liu remembers Li is waiting outside and can carry the warning. Du chooses to remain, confident his array can delay another assault. The hunters leave immediately, having no time for further argument. Outside, Li asks why they returned so quickly. Liu orders him to warn the Institute about a dark hunter ritual. Li recognizes the danger behind that organization immediately. Chen insists Li handle communication while they pursue something more urgent. Liu wants further investigation despite their rapidly shrinking preparation time. Dong trusts her judgment, though Liu dislikes his agreement's timing. Li assures them he can reach the mission station alone. Liu divides responsibilities, sending Li while the hunters continue investigating. Li accepts the message and runs toward the mission station. Liu pressures Chen to explain why they delayed despite imminent attack. Chen admits suspecting Du Ci and proposes checking the evidence. They reach the alley where Xiaoyou's monster attack occurred. Liu confirms the location matches every description inside Du's report. Dong notices strange dark stains scattered across the ground. He asks what produced those marks around the supposed attack site. Liu finds identical stains documented at every kidnapping location. The report identifies them as residue from wild monster saliva. Chen tests the stains scent with his enhanced senses. He identifies black-backed rhinoceros fluid, commonly used as permanent criminal ink. The discovery confirms Chen's suspicion about staged monster evidence. Liu demands the full explanation, growing increasingly impatient. Chen says time is gone and promises answers while running. As they race back, Chen asks Liu about Li Wen. Meanwhile, Poison Sting's protective array begins cracking under violent pressure. Repeated attacks finally rupture the concealed chamber's defenses. Du shields Xiaoyou as the masked dark hunter returns earlier than expected. The intruder condemns Du's crimes and declares hiding completely useless. Du insists Poison Sting never cooperated with dark hunters. The masked intruder dismisses Poison Sting and refuses further negotiation. Du reaches for his hunter device, accepting that battle is unavoidable. He activates the device and vows to fight desperately. A sealing array expands beneath the intruder, trapping his monsters. The masked hunter recognizes Du's specialized binding formation too late. Du transforms with Purple Thorn Scorpion, revealing his ghost rank power. His armored monster gathers concentrated energy into its mechanical tail. The scorpion tail cannon fires toward the restrained invader. Du charges through the blast and lands a devastating punch. Instead of blood, black ink splashes from the damaged creature. Du realizes the enemy monsters were constructed entirely from ink. 10 years earlier, Li Wen served as an ordinary institute clerk. His support monster, Ink Sage, transformed into a writing brush. Li's wife, Yefei, was an exceptionally powerful female executor. Their unlikely marriage once shocked the institute because gossip needed employment. The masked intruder destroys 3 ink monsters with one strike. A familiar presence suddenly awakens behind the mask's failing disguise. Liu stops running and demands Chen explain his suspicion. Chen openly states that he believes Li Wen deceived them. Dong complains this crucial insight should have arrived considerably earlier. Chen says Li possesses motive, opportunity, and a suspicious monster ability. Liu rejects suspicion against someone she has trusted since childhood. Chen recalls Li's strangely specific comments about the missing girls. Victim numbers and staged attack sites strengthen Chen's growing certainty. Enhanced smell detected rhinoceros ink on Li, while Ink Sage mutates techniques. Liu asks why Chen separated Li if he suspected danger. Chen explains Li would have opposed departure if Xiaoyou were truly targeted. Instead, Li accepted separation because he intended confronting Du personally. Liu grabs Chen's cloak, rejecting his dangerous improvisation. Hunters must protect mission targets, not expose them through speculative traps. A target's death automatically means mission failure under hunter regulations. Chen promises Xiaoyu will survive despite his calculated risk. He excludes Du from that promise, having developed no fondness whatsoever. Chen proposes splitting up, sending Lu to contact Bai Sheng. He and Dong will delay Li until reinforcements arrive. Lu reluctantly asks why she must be the messenger. Chen notes only she knows the station's precise location. Lu still hesitates, fearing their plan leaves Chen exposed. He swears as a hunter to return after completing the mission. Lu finally agrees and presses a small protective charm against him. She says trusting Chen as a hunter is enough. Back inside, Du struggles beneath overwhelming attacks and burning energy. He realizes only the masked intruder remained after all. Li reveals himself, saying Du never expected becoming another disposable insect. Xiaoyu cries for her father while living tendrils restrain her. Du roars at Li to release his daughter immediately. Li complains his elaborate trap was expensive and unnecessarily disrupted. Still, capturing Xiaoyu makes Du's survival completely irrelevant. A constricting tendril tightens around Du while black energy surges. Du strikes the creature, but its fluid body absorbs impact. Li explains every copied monster remains equally useful to him. Even shattered tendrils rapidly regenerate from spreading ink. Felion suddenly slices through the appendage holding Xiaoyu. Li turns, recognizing unexpected interference at the worst moment. The severed tendril crashes down as its grip collapses. Chen and Dong arrive together before Li can recapture Xiaoyu. Chen admits they came late, but Dong says timing remains sufficient. Xiaoyu transforms into a red mimicry creature while Felion catches her. Li instantly recognizes the monster hidden behind her human appearance. Dong asks whether Li already knew she was a mimic. Chen explains Xiaoyu's scent never matched a human from their arrival. Du found the dying mimic larva and raised it as Xiaoyu. Li admits its imperfect imitation still fooled him long enough. Du punches Li aside, silencing his contempt for Xiaoyu. Li's ink tendrils surround them while he threatens to tear Du apart. Chen and Dong block his escape route back outside. Li summons his brush weapon, spreading liquid darkness across the hall. Chen asks about the kidnapped girls, while Li dismisses their importance. Li claims impoverished lives were suffering, so sacrifice supposedly liberated them. His brush paints new monster shapes through swirling blue ink. Multiple copied beasts materialize simultaneously around the trapped hunters. Li enters hunter form with his ghost-ranked black-backed tortoise. Chen realizes evolution lets Ink Sage reproduce abilities through painted monsters. Dong finally understands why technology detected none of the attackers. He charges Li before another creature can fully materialize. Li mockingly offers Dong the same liberation he forced upon others. Dong's transformed blade collides against Li's hardened ink weapon. He slips beneath Li's guard and cuts across his body. A massive tendril immediately ambushes Dong from behind. Dong spins and severs it before the strike lands. Black ink batters Dong, but he continues attacking without hesitation. Li's copied beasts surround Dong and strike from multiple angles. Chen intercepts one creature before it can overwhelm Dong. Dong warns Chen against rushing before identifying every monster property. Beyond Ink Sage and the Tortoise, 3 combat copies remain. Stone Armor Iron Guard serves as the formation's defensive monster. Gale Mantis provides concentrated offense through its bladed limbs. Demon Strawman supplies healing and property amplification from behind. Their roles form a balanced hunter team under Li's singular control. Du reveals his earlier sealing array eliminated another copied monster. The surviving copies now represent Li's complete remaining battle strength. Li mocks their eagerness to become heroes through reckless combat. He produces a strange crystal and promises to teach them reality. Chen recognizes it resembles objects carried by earlier station attackers. Li crushes the crystal, unleashing a violent enhancement across his monsters. Chen warns Dong that the device sharply increases Li's combat power. Simultaneously, Emergency Code 505 reaches the Dog District Institute station. A messenger creature carries the desperate signal into Central Command. Operators classify it as an S-rank reinforcement request and accept transmission. A parent-child projection frog broadcasts the crisis throughout headquarters. Lu's projected face announces her sister's emergency to command staff. The duty officer demands details about Lu's unexplained crisis. She mobilizes every senior executor stationed nearby toward 3rd Avenue. Technical teams receive orders to scan Lower City and dismantle sacrificial arrays. Hunters across Dog District answer the spreading SOS signal. A watching masked figure notices the Institute summons and quietly worries. Elsewhere, combat already rages between responding hunters and hidden enemies. A fighter drives an electrified fist through another attacker. One combatant delightedly declares the escalating chaos wonderfully entertaining. At headquarters, an assistant asks her superior how they should respond. He orders her to pretend they noticed absolutely nothing. Years earlier, young Li Wen introduced himself beneath Institute protection. Though frail and sickly, he enjoyed an orderly childhood in Dog District. Li later joined the Institute as an ordinary administrative clerk. He found a supportive supervisor who treated subordinates warmly. Friendly coworkers made daily station life feel genuinely welcoming. Most importantly, Li met Ye Fei and found lasting love. He believed the Institute had created every happiness in his life. In the present, Li attacks with murderous fury and augmented strength. His weapon smashes through the stone armor defender completely. Gale Mantis immediately attacks, forcing Li through the shattered protection. Another defensive copy raises debris and shields Li from Du. Du crushes that barrier with concentrated scorpion power. Li uses Ink Sage's brush while regenerative tendrils restrain Du. Du. Gale Mantis is hurled between them as combat formations shift. Chen identifies Lee's visual blind spot and dives toward it. He locates the opening and prepares a decisive strike. Stone armor hardening activates instantly, blocking Chen from below. Chen retreats before the counterattack can trap him. He realizes coordinated defense covers Lee even beyond direct sight. Dong engages Gale Mantis, matching its bladed attacks himself. He tells Chen to switch targets because Felion is faster. Chen deduces Demon Strawman monitors the entire battlefield for Lee. Worse, the support creature immediately heals injuries inflicted upon copied monsters. Chen identifies Strawman as their priority despite its protected position. Du reveals Lee invested his greatest enhancement into another hidden advantage. Lee's secret device supplies enough soul energy for endless coordination. Without reinforcements, the hunters may never exhaust his artificial reserves. Lee invites them to continue fighting until death decides everything. Chen proposes breaking defense through one overwhelming combined attack. Dong asks whether Chen can return another devoured strike at full strength. Taudi explains Magnetic Storm is exhausted, leaving no suitable offensive copy. Gale Mantis charges again while they search for another opening. Du orders immediate action, admitting his body cannot endure longer. Chen signals Dong and both launch their coordinated assault. Dong activates Phalion's ultimate dance against the attacking Mantis. Outside, Lu races toward the station with reinforcements still distant. Dong's pressure forces Demon Strawman to heal the defender again. Du spends his remaining soul power on another scorpion tail cannon. The concentrated shot crashes through Slee's copied formation. Several ink creatures dissolve beneath the overwhelming purple blast. Chen slips behind stone armor with destructive red energy prepared. His empowered punch breaks directly through the defender's hardened shell. Devoured destructive energy withers the copied monster from inside. Stone armor collapses into ink before Strawman can restore it. Dong simultaneously destroys Gale Mantis, completing their coordinated breakthrough. Demon Strawman falls next as green support energy disperses. Chen admits Magnetic Storm is fully exhausted after this assault. Lee rises and mocks them for choosing such a desperate strategy. Du attacks again, asking whether they would die for the Institute. Lee forms a colossal stone sphere and hurls it toward Chen. Chen refuses retreat, gathering every remaining fragment of strength. Even without another hunter skill, he jokes that dying sounds excessive. Chen remembers his simplest weapon and drives a fist upward. Lee accepts the challenge, telling Chen to remember his name. Their collision throws Chen downward through splashing ink and rubble. Still falling, he roars his own name back at Lee. Taudi realizes Chen has unexpectedly summoned a monster soul entity. Such control normally requires ghost rank, suggesting Chen advance prematurely. Dong notices the transformed red energy coating Chen's fist. Gale Mantis tears into Du while copied creatures regroup. Another strike bursts against Du's battered hunter form. Dong launches Felion's crescent energy toward Lee's exposed side. He follows through, cutting Lee before the formation responds. Wind energy wraps around Dong's blade for another decisive strike. Gale Mantis intercepts him again, shielding Lee through copied instinct. Dong's empowered slash detonates against the attacking creature. Both copied monsters collapse into exploding streams of ink. Du orders Dong onward, prioritizing Xiaoyu over his own survival. Chen locates a dark opening inside the shattered floor. Dong widens the opening with another sweeping Felion slash. The wind beast dives through while Chen guards above. Lee summons an ink creature resembling Felion from the darkness. Dong stares, recognizing the disturbing imitation of his monster. Lee proudly commands his counterfeit Felion against the original. He claims Ink Sage can create endlessly while soul energy remains. Dong realizes Lee paints copies of monsters encountered during battle. Taudi scoffs that this imitation cannot rival true devouring authority. Chen wonders how Lee still has energy, blaming another enhancement crystal. Lee continues painting, determined to replace every fallen creature. Dense ink gathers into an enormous new life form above him. The unfinished monster swells across the chamber under Lee's control. Dong urges immediate destruction before Lee completes the dangerous copy. Taudi tells them to wait, anticipating a remarkably convenient meal. Lee raises his brush as the final lines nearly connect. The creation suddenly explodes, its gathered power collapsing inward. Lee stares in disbelief as his painstaking monster disintegrates. A crimson predatory presence emerges behind him through the ruined ink. Lee recognizes the aura of a vastly higher-ranked monster. Taudi laughs at Inksage's attempt to imitate devouring authority. Dong seizes the distraction and follows Lee into the opening. Chen and Taudi jump after them before the passage closes. Below, the tunnel expands into an unexpectedly enormous underground shaft. They recognize Dog District's vast municipal sewer engineering network. Chen warns Lee nears his limit, making any delay troublesome. Dong rides a circular wind current and descends through the shaft. Filion provides flight, leaving Dong as their fastest pursuer. Chen remembers they also possess a creature capable of assistance. Dong asks what he means before the answer arrives. Lee's abandoned counterfeit Filion suddenly dives beneath Chen. Taudi explains copied monsters contain fragments of their original soul power. Without Lee's control, this copy still retains Filion's basic flight instinct. Soul remaining from creation lets it function independently for now. The counterfeit sweeps through the shaft and catches Chen. Lee looks upward, realizing his pursuers have stolen his transportation. Dong declares that Lee cannot escape their renewed pursuit. Chen, Dong, and Tao Ti accelerate behind their desperate target. Chen marvels at flight while Dong studies the copying ability. Tao Ti says reproducing stronger divine techniques would consume enormous soul energy. Their borrowed mount dives rapidly toward Li through the darkness. Tao Ti bellows for their stolen mount to overtake Li immediately. Above ground, emergency forces converge throughout the streets of 3rd Avenue. The commander orders every suspected hunter array located and dismantled. Squads launch scouting birds across the district under her signal. Most nearby institute combat strength gathers around the threatened neighborhood. Bai Sheng joins Liu and prepares to support Chen's team. Liu asks whether Li truly sacrifices people, but Bai remains doubtful. Bai suggests Li's transformation may trace back to an earlier tragedy. Hunters become partly monstrous, and losing control lets that nature consume them. Bai hopes former comrades stop him if darkness ever claims him. Underground, the rescuers discover battle ruins, but find the combatants gone. Bai finds another breach while Liu hurries toward the fallen Du. Liu tries waking Du, but severe injuries have left him unconscious. Bai examines the newly broken opening, leading even farther below. He identifies the pursuit route and quickly leads Liu inside. Together they enter the sprawling sewer system beneath 3rd Avenue. Far ahead, Li races toward a destination beyond immediate escape. Chen asks why they cannot catch him. Dong cites soul depletion. Li admits complications, yet believes the larger plan remains intact. Before capture, he must complete that plan despite Tao Ti's danger. Dong realizes Li has a destination and questions his true objective. He condenses Felian's wind into a rapidly spinning blue weapon. The projectile smashes Li's platform, violently interrupting his careful escape. Li lands above the city and faces his relentless pursuers. Dong attacks immediately while Chen closes from the opposite side. Their borrowed Felian carries Chen straight through the spreading debris. Dong surrounds Li with curved wind blades, restricting every route. Tao Ti urges Chen to win this rather suspicious mirror match. Chen copies the technique and launches his own wind blade. The surprise strike connects before Li can properly defend himself. Li crashes onto broken stone, spilling ink and blood together. Dong sees the fallen enemy and cautiously declares their victory. Li bitterly admits a child had defeated him using identical power. He remembers Yifei once promising to protect her gentle husband. Even then, Li admitted combat never particularly suited him. Nearby armored guards watch the confrontation and question everyone's identity. They assume invaders attack while senior executives guarded the lower city. Li praises Dong's performance, then mocks his apparent heroism. Dong rejects the title and asks what changed Li so completely. Li answers that the Institute, surprisingly, did absolutely nothing. Li crushes one final green crystal, dismissing heroism as meaningless. Violent green energy erupts as the crystal releases everything stored inside. Completely exhausted, Li surrenders the remaining battle to Ink Sage. Corrupted power courses through his body while he welcomed possession. Grotesque skull-covered growths spread across his transforming limbs. Li completes a Phalian wind demon transformation, unfurling monstrous wings. A massive wind blast hurls Chen and Dong backward together. The transformed Li shatters their defenses through overwhelming speed and strength. He dives between them, turning retreat into another impossible option. Dong and Chen barely block the next crushing wind strike. They counter together, but Li slips through their coordinated attack. Chen realizes Li has surrendered his entire body to the monster. That surrender is rapidly turning him into a fully reborn hunter. Hunters represent humanity's light, while their monsters embody its darkness. Li's intense hatred feeds the transformation and keeps increasing its power. Elsewhere, a senior official questions whether every hidden operative was contained. His assistant confirms most were captured, though several escaped the operation. Their objective is already complete, so they simply watch the spectacle. Back below, Li sweeps an enormous wind blade across the chamber. Chen dodges, realizing the copied Felian now exceeds ghost tier. Another colossal wind blade forces Chen and Dong apart. Chen asks how to stop Li before his transformation stabilizes. Tao Ti says Li's obsession allows only one solution, defeating him. Worse, possession has removed every normal restriction on Li's soul. Tao Ti suggests taking Chen's body instead. Chen politely rejects that nightmare. Li resumes attacking, filling the chamber with intersecting wind blades. Dong admits his depleted soul cannot sustain much more fighting. Tao Ti spots gathering energy and urgently warns both hunters. Li unleashes a devastating downward blast across their shattered battlefield. The razor-edge current tears straight through layers of stone. Chen and Dong slide helplessly along the collapsing floor. Chen insists they must delay Li until Lu's reinforcements arrive. Directly below them, Institute researchers conduct a dangerous separation experiment. They insert a light attribute hunter card, strengthening the containment field. Another technician activates the array while its readings climb steadily. Light energy begins separating a writhing shadow from its captive. Researcher Yi Fan celebrates because the procedure is finally succeeding. Li's attack crashes through the laboratory, proving timing has a cruel imagination. Inside the damaged chamber, the separated shadow opens one bright eye. Chen and Dong land among stunned researchers, bruised but conscious. Li descends after them while Tao Ti wonders where reinforcements are. Yi Fan emerges furious, demanding who destroyed her precious laboratory. Behind her, surviving technicians struggle to restrain the separated shadow. Chen recognizes the station fugitive and finally understands Li's true target. He pursues the retreating shadow, refusing to let it escape. His blade strikes, but the creature contracts around its captive. Chen curses as that slippery mass avoids another decisive hit. Yifan berates security for letting an S-class criminal reach them. Another wave tears through the ruins before anyone answers her. Chen blocks it and drags Yifan away from danger. He postpones introductions, while she suddenly notices Taudi beside him. Yifan excitedly identifies Chen's monster as the legendary Taudi. Taudi recognizes a research fanatic and immediately recommends considerable distance. She grabs Chen anyway, thrilled to meet Taudi's current holder. Yifan demands a demonstration because survival can apparently wait. Above them, transformed Li spreads his wings and gathers power. Dong warns that Li is preparing one enormous finishing strike. He identifies it as Felian's strongest ghost-tier hunting technique. Taudi proposes escaping with their remaining borrowed Felian power. Chen accepts, since protecting Du already completed his original mission. Yet retreat feels wrong. Avoiding every stronger enemy protects nobody forever. Chen chooses to fight, even if victory costs his life. Dong refuses cowardice as well and raises his battered sword. Tao Ti realizes they are gambling everything on Liu arriving. It warns Chen has one life, while monsters can await another holder. Li releases the technique, sending a vast storm toward them. Chen and Dong combine their blades against the descending devastation. Their cross-defense buckles under the storm's brutal pressure. The force keeps climbing, but both hunters stubbornly hold position. Liu finally arrives and activates Cat's gratitude through her doll. Chen shouts for her to perform the exchange immediately. Her cat light redirects their combined power into Li's attack. The returning storm engulfs Li, tearing through his monstrous transformation. Its impact carves an enormous crater through the laboratory ruins. Once the dust settles, Liu cautiously approaches the fallen Li. She recognizes him and quietly calls him Uncle Wen. Li thanks Xiaowu for stopping him, though she asks why. He says everything was merely an attempt to recover Yifei. Years earlier, Yifei rescued the injured and defenseless Li. She promised to protect him whenever battle exceeded his abilities. Other hunters mocked Yifei for defending someone supposedly weak. They even questioned protecting her childhood friend throughout his entire life. Compared with those fighters, Li privately considered his power shamefully inadequate. Yifei ignored their judgment and continued supporting him anyway. Li vowed he would eventually become strong enough to protect her. During another mission, an explosion separated their team before reinforcements arrived. Yifei ordered Li to guard important documents, but he followed. She fought alone while Li watched helplessly, clutching those documents. On quieter nights, they trained together above the illuminated city. Yifei praised Ink Sage reaching Tiger Tier despite remaining support-oriented. She reminded Li that his simple presence already meant everything. Determined anyway, Li modified Ink Sage toward combat and requested deployment. Yifei argued his true strength was supporting stronger frontline hunters. Li accepted her answer outwardly, though frustration kept growing underneath. He believed lacking combat talent made him everyone's permanent burden. Li blamed his own weakness for constantly dragging his comrades down. Yifei insisted she never needed him hiding behind her forever. Li walked away before she could finish explaining herself. Soon afterward, an emergency medical team rushed Yifei into treatment. Her monster's death caused catastrophic rejection, and replacement blood never arrived. Colleagues assured Li that Weiyang District possessed specialized revival treatment. Baisheng repeatedly pressed the doctors, but nobody had arrived. Long Family's patriarch occupied their scheduled treatment, creating a fatal delay. An attendant claimed only the three great families could release resources. Li apologized after his desperate anger frightened the remaining staff. He learned the Qianlong family stood beyond ordinary institute influence. Desperation eventually placed a mysterious red manual into Li's hands. He brought it beside Yifei, unsure what it could accomplish. A colleague blamed herself for missing Yifei's best treatment window. Baisheng said keeping her alive was already an achievement. Li called himself useless because he still could not fight. Touching Yifei's face, he remembered her constant protection. He vowed to recover her, whatever sacrifice the process demanded. Back in the crater, Liu finally understands that hidden history. Chen angrily condemns powerful families for treating ordinary survival as disposable. He cannot accept protecting a system built around such people. Dong abruptly insists they cannot simply oppose those families. He understands Chen's outrage, but warns against voicing it openly. Chen realizes Dong comes from Qianlong District and questions his loyalty. Yifan argues Dong knows the families represent something far older. She claims their disappearance would somehow damage the revelation record itself. Yifan dramatically asks Tao Ti to confirm her explanation. Tao Ti calls her crazy, while Chen demands a proper introduction. She introduces herself as Yifan, a senior Weiyang researcher. Yifan complains that a promised Tao Ti study made her bait. Chen questions that word, but armed officers abruptly surround everyone. They accuse the entire group of destroying Institute property and aiding escape. The officers order everyone disarmed while their commander watches calmly. He demands they return peacefully and submit to formal investigation. Investigators blame Falian for the destruction and confirm Shadow escaped. Since 3 witnesses carried Falian power, Chen and Dong remain suspects. Chen expects simple clearance, yet senses their detention serves another purpose. Yifan praises his improved suspicion since their previous encounter. Chen notes 6 lower city murders remained unresolved before this disaster. Institute forces vanished precisely when Li freed Shadow, suspiciously convenient timing. Liu reveals executors had simultaneously purged hidden Shadow hunters across town. Yifan says they were merely bait. Chen was the target. The upcoming Hunter Marshal Conference will decide Tao Ti's final ownership. A false research opportunity opportunity lured Yifan here to investigate Shadow. Meanwhile, three family operatives secretly moved throughout Dog District unnoticed. Their false intelligence made Yifan bait for Shadow's rescuers. Chen finally understands how their unrelated mission entered this elaborate trap. Elsewhere, the purple-suited commander presents his report to Dongfang. He connects 6 murders, Li, shadow hunters, and a family institution. This confirmed the long-awaited conspiracy surrounding the captive Shadow. Institute agents monitored events while secretly protecting the final target, Du. Their restraint exposed enemy activity and strengthened Dongfang's conference position. To avoid suspicion, they disguised the murders as an ordinary mission. Dongfang asks whether Chen's team accepted that mission accidentally. The commander calls their involvement useful, especially because Chen joined them. His detention could pressure opponents while securing Teoti's custody. Capturing Shadow likewise gives Dongfang leverage against the three families. Dongfang approves the result but condemns those ruthless methods. Li was their former colleague, deserving guidance instead of exploitation. The commander counters that murdering 6 women made Li unforgivable. Since Shadowhunters kidnapped Yifei, Li was already condemned. He expected Li to overpower the students and trigger Teoti's rampage. That crisis would provide the perfect excuse for controlling Tao Ti. The commander calls it necessary work. Dongfang was unwilling to perform. Dongfang ends the argument, having heard more than enough. He believes Chen's ability makes him Tao Ti's most suitable holder. Their leverage is sufficient, so Dongfang orders gentler treatment. The commander then reveals another student possesses a complicated background. His investigation identifies Dong Kai as an abandoned Gu family child. Though evidence remains indirect, his bloodline suggests another hidden agenda. Dongfang suspects the young man entered this competition for personal reasons. Still, lost children need guidance regardless of the blood they inherit. Approaching Mian Island, Dongfang orders everyone released after the conference. Vast fleets of airborne monsters and vessels converge through the clouds. Competitors from countless factions descend toward the isolated Arena Island. The Hunter Marshall Conference begins, promising Chen an even fiercer battlefield.